G'day legends, I hope you're all fantastic. We are taking a look at this little brute today, the Line 6 HX Stomp. I picked this unit up used on Marketplace recently, generally because I was curious about what has been added since the last time I played around with one of these. There's been quite a few significant firmware updates, loads of new effects. I mean, the last time I tried one of these, you could only load 6 blocks in it. Now you can load 8. So I'm just going to do what I do, which is play around with a bunch of tones. I'm mostly going to stick to using the effects only in this. I will have a look at some drives if I get a chance, and I'll probably do a separate video looking at the amp modeling. Let's go. Let's start off with the Strat. I'm going straight into the HX Stomp, coming out in stereo into a pair of ODS clean amp models on my Axe-Fx 3. So we're going to be focusing on effects, pre-gain, but still in stereo. Here's my dry sound. So clean Strat on the neck pickup, doing what you would expect. Let's start with a reverb. There's the new Dynamic Hall, Dynamic Plate, and Dynamic Room. I really like Dynamic Plate just for kind of like a small verb. I'd even bring the mix up a little bit on this one. Check it out. Nice and subtle right there. Dynamic Hall is pretty awesome if you like the bigger reverbs. I've got a favorite saved in here that I've just called Big Space. So I have increased the damping a little bit. That one is going to make your reverbs kind of shine and shimmer a little bit more with some high frequency content, but 10 seconds of reverb, huge pre-delay, more diffusion, 30-meter room. Maybe I'll compromise on this one and I'll go for the Dynamic Hall, but with around 2 seconds of reverb. I quite like that. Let's add, what should we do? Maybe let's jump over here and add some modulation in here. I'm in stereo on this. I've got a couple of favorites in here, including the Legacy Dimension effect, but there's a tri-chorus in here, which is pretty interesting. So more or less stock settings. I haven't tweaked this that much. I have just turned on the left and right boost on here. So this is a pretty glorious, greasy chorus. Now, in my opinion, Line 6 has been doing really good mod effects for a very, very long time. So let's hear some more. This is the Electric Mistress emulation. There's this retro reel kind of tape saturation wobble thing that I think would remind a lot of people of a pedal like the Strymon Deco. This one's just got some cool character about it. There's also the legacy boss dimension style thing, which I'm going to admit doesn't sound like the most accurate dimension chorus, but it does sound good in its own right. Check it out. The script phaser in front of the dirty amp does the thing as well. And then you've got the plastic chorus, which I think is an Arion SCH. I recently checked out an original one of those on the channel. With the rate up, it's giving you that faux Leslie thing. There's a couple of really good rotary sounds in here as well, some nice variations. You've got a 1-2-2, a vibe, and a 1-4-5 rotary. There's a 70s chorus as well for the kind of boss CE1 style thing. I really like that you've got true stereo as an option. Before we get onto the delays, which have so many fun sounds like the mod block, they are probably my two favorite blocks in here. There is a legacy effect in the dynamics block called the boost comp. I love this when I had a Line 6 M5. It's just a really nice combination of a compressor and kind of a low gain drive. It makes everything sound super fat as well. That one just gets a little bit noisy, so I'll bypass it for now. Let's do some delays. I have a couple of immediate favorites in here. The Adriatic delay, I really like in stereo, you've got the option to change the bucket brigade size on here and add modulation. It's basically like an expanded Boss DM2. I've got it synced to the tempo, but then the delay line ratio at 75%. So I should have a quarter note and a dotted eighth note style delay on here. You've also got the ability to add noise, so it kind of does go to that extra step of trying to really authentically model these. With the BBD size really low, you get this kind of bit crushy crust on everything. With it up high, it has this kind of chirpy thing. I recently tried a Boss DM2 was a craft edition, and this had this kind of chirp. My original DM2 sounds a little bit more like the really low BBD size. Lots of character in that one. I like it. The Space Echo emulation is really good as well. You know, the DL4 is an absolutely iconic pedal, so it's no surprise that Line 6 have done a really good job with the delays on here. That combined with, say, that really big reverb that I had earlier and this CE1, this is pretty nice for an ambient style thing. The other delay that I think they've done a very good job with is the Elephant Man, so based on an Electro Harmonix stereo memory man in here. Let's just set this to, what have I got? Have I got a quarter note? Where is it? Oh, it's up here. I'm kind of blind, I apologize. And we'll set the scale to 75%. Actually, let's set the scale at 100% so we can hear the modulation on there, and then I'll set it to 75% again. Much like with the boost comp, the legacy pitch effects and synth effects in here I really enjoy as well. Stuff like the growler, I remember really enjoying on the M5. Let's take the synth strings into that Elephant Man delay, and you know what, I'll bring back that really big space on here. I always forget that the filters aren't in with the synth and pitch effects. I think probably because they're color-coded purple in here. So this is another purple style effect. The mutant filter, the mystery filter sound really good, and then the Asheville pattern is pretty wild as well. I'll just do my best bad funk impression. Alright, I've rerouted everything so that the HX is now after the amp and cab, and I've got an absolutely filthy tone to start. Let's hear the dynamic hall again. Actually, no, let's do the dynamic plate at stock settings, because I think that works really, really well with the distorted sound. Then I will bring in this Elephant Man delay. But I think for lead stuff, I like the dual delay on here. I've kind of adjusted the feedback and mix, I've offset them a little bit and got it to where I like it. Bit of heaven above. Now let's add a bit of low cut and high cut. I'll take the high cut to about 4K. That's where I generally like to high cut my delays. Low cut I'll bring up a little bit, and let's add some chorus modulation on there. Speed I'll set to about 0.7 Hertz. That's usually my go-to. Depth, spread, that's all looking good. Let's hear this now. Kind of pushes it to the background just a little bit. All right, we're going to try some greasy pitch detune on all of this. I'm probably just going to run it in series. Here's one that I prepared earlier. I've called it Micro Shift, and I mean, have I set this up the way I like it? Where's the mix? At about 50%. I'm going to turn the delay off on here. Let's have a listen to what the Line 6 Micro Pitch Shift sounds like. try some dynamic Hall and the Adriatic delay now with that Detune. Now we have to try chorus and pitch detune with this big reverb. I'm going to bypass the delay. We're going for no more tears right here. So let's try the dimension chorus on this. I've got that as a favorite in here. It's probably going to be a little bit too much at 100% mix, so I might dial it back to about 60. I'll bring each element in as we go. We'll go chorus and then pitch detune on top of that. Chorus and pitch detune really is the 80s, isn't it? And then some reverb. That dimension chorus, it's giving me Yamaha symphonic vibes. It's not exactly the same, but I think that works really nice on a dirty tone. The pitch detune, and as somebody who has now listened to pitch detune by a lot of different companies, whether it's like the old Yamaha SPX, or it's the Eventide H series, or it's in the Axe FX, or it's in stuff like the old Digitech gear, this definitely has its own kind of character about it. To me, it sounds very kind of smeared out, for use of a better term. My kind of preference for detune is more stuff like the Eventide and the Fractal, where the pitch detection is very smooth, but your sort of main tone kind of is still there. It just sounds a little bit wider. This kind of sounds like it's really smothering everything, which is kind of nice on a clean sound with chorus, but on distortion, you probably have to bring it back even further. So not the worst pitch detune I've ever heard in my life, but also probably not my favorite. Some of these delays though are absolutely gorgeous. Let's try something else in here just while I'm here noodling around. There's kind of no rhyme or reason to any of this. Let's try vintage digital. Dotted eighth note. I'm going to bring the feedback down a little bit. You can adjust the bit depth on here and the sample rate, which is pretty cool. You've got modulation on there, which is always a nice thing on stuff like this. So yeah, let's just, where's the mix? It's a little bit high for me. Let's just hear some more greasy lead on this. Reroute everything again because I haven't talked about the drives just yet. I'm just going to add a drive to all of this. Maybe let's start with the Minotaur, so based on a clon. I've got my custom 24, so I can do some parallel coil and series humbucker sounds on this. Let's just have a listen to what the Minotaur adds. was pretty nice and smooth. What else do we have? We've got a King of Tone style thing. I'll go back to a split mode. Right, these all kind of sound, you know, smooth into this smooth Dumbly style amp. What I'm going to do is swap amps. I might go to like the Cameron CCV and we'll try use this as a boost in front of all of it. So I really feel like I need to spend a lot of time with the drives to kind of get used to the individual character of them. There's a whole bunch of delays to explore. The new reverbs in there are very, very usable. There's some great sounding mod effects in there. I tend to find with the Line 6 stuff, and this is something that I thought before I actually owned an HX Stomp, back when I tried an M5 and an M13, is that the kind of wackier stuff they do really, really well, and they've always done really well. Stuff like flanges and weird pitch and synth and filter effects. What seems to have been the case with this latest generation is that everything else is kind of caught up in there. So there are some really inspiring delays in there, some really nice modulation effects. And part of the beauty of getting to play around with something like this, and the reason that I bought this, is that, you know, you flick on that Adriatic delay and the defaults are just in a different place to where you might find a DM2 style model on a Fractal or another modeler like that. Same thing with the pitch effects and filter effects. So it just gives me another box that I can dive into and get really, really inspired. And then if there's a particular delay sound or chorus sound that I want to match, say, my axe effects, then I can spend the time and do that. And vice versa. There's stuff in the axe effects that I absolutely adore that, you know, has kind of taught me what I like out of, say, a dual delay, and I can punch it into this and get pretty close to what I would use, you know, as like a bread and butter kind of sound. So it is in no way a case of either platform being, you know, the ultimate or the better one or something like that. I'm super, super comfortable on the axe effects, and I use that as my daily driver, and I gig with the FM3 and the FM9. But it's super awesome to have these sounds in here. And like I've said a few times, Line 6 have been really good at a lot of this stuff for a very, very long time. And, you know, you compare them to some of the other modelers out there, you know, you'd say that the Helix feels like a very mature modeling platform, like the Axe Effects, kind of like the Kemper, kind of like the Boss stuff. And then everybody else is playing catch up with all of those. So yeah, I will do some more videos with this particular unit. Let me know what you would like to see and hear, and I will do my best to get to them. I will try to share some presets, and of course you can grab my IRs and load them in. I should do a video on the amp modeling because I haven't really played around with that too much. I've mostly been using it as a little compact effects device. So hope you enjoyed the video. It was a longer one. If you like what I do here on the channel, there's some links in the video description if you want to support what I do, or you can check out some of my music, or you can just go and enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers for watching.